This is a company we're both familiar with. In fact, my keyboard is made by this company. This is Corsair Gaming. Ticker is CRSR here. Corsair Gaming shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results. Now, first of all, 650 is very, very clearly a spot here. This is the impulse move that stopped it. It traded back up here during the pre-market, and it was kind of rejected. But here's the other thing that I want to mention. The stock has been extremely beaten down. And so maybe, especially with this being a customer-facing company here, or connected to the customer, perhaps this is the time when it turns around. Now, you'll notice that this pop here, where it stopped us last night and stopped us again here today, this was a former support level. Yep. And this is now going to be resistance. So we're definitely going to net 650. We are definitely going to need to take that. It's probably going to need to happen on volume. We'll see if we get through it. 13, I'm sure you've got some other stuff here. It looks like there's a trend line on here, but I'll wait for you to cover that. Let me go ahead and actually give you the results. 43-cent EPS beat the 27-cent estimate. Nice, healthy beat there. And sales of $436.85 million beat the $421.99 million. Corsair Gaming, could this have been from the memory increase? Any remaining stock or remaining products that they have? Maybe they saw an outsized bump?
I don't know how tied to the memory this would be. I know that there's going to be a significant number of semiconductors used in their products, but not necessarily to the scale that you would see in whole rigs and towers and server racks. So I don't necessarily think that that's that we're seeing this increase. You're looking at an increase in the sales because of the because the way I'm thinking about, I have Corsair memory in my computer, and so the way their memory, okay, yeah.
So the way I'm thinking about this 13 is that they probably had product left over, and as the prices continued to move higher, they paid the same amount for those products, so they're selling them at higher revenue. That would increase margins. That would increase profit. I'm just wondering. I don't actually know. Let me see. Let me see if AI can help us with this.
Maybe I think you could be right about that. I just when I look at Corsair, I think more of their peripherals. So the mouses, keyboards, headsets. That's the stuff that I'm actually going to be getting later on to replace my my Razer stuff, which is crap now. But I think you could be right, because when they guided lower than what the estimates were. So maybe they have inventory that they've been trying to sell through. And when you look at the beat that this company had on their earnings, the EPS was much higher than the estimates. And taking those two things into context, it might be like a one-time thing to make your point about the memory. But they it's still trading higher, and they just had some really good earnings results, and it looks like they're on a much more sustainable path to profitability, because they've been kind of losing money up until I think last year. So as far as the chart goes,
well, hang on. I've got results are in, buddy. Results are in. Yes, the report and related earnings commentary explicitly link Corsair's stronger Q4 and full year 25 results to higher RAM prices and demand for memory products. More specifically, this is how it factored into the report. The press release highlights that gaming components and systems growth was spurred by demand for memory, end quote.
So people are trying to build before they get too priced out.
And notes that memory revenue in Q4 grew about 24% year over year. Management went on to state that memory was a major contributor to the Q4 margins lift, because DRAM prices went up substantially from October to December, creating favorable inventory margins as Corsair sold stock purchased at lower costs in a rising price environment. That is exactly what I said.
You completely nailed it.